leading thinkers on the right side of politics are gathering in London this week to discuss ways in which every citizen can prosper in a better world. Names include Jordan Peterson, former Australian Prime Minister Tony Abbott, and Trade Secretary Kemi Badenoch. And to add to that list is one Baroness Helena Morissey, who was at the event in Greenwich and joins me now. Baroness Morissey, delightful to see you. Thank you very much for joining us. The ARC conference,
Pleasure.
It's known as. I'd add a sort of a wrinkle to it and say, presumably you're taking a leaf out of my book and calling it the Conference of Common Sense, are you?
Well, I think that would be a very good alternative name. I mean, what we're trying to do is a call to action. So I guess the idea of responsible citizenship and having an alliance, meaning that everybody takes some action as a result. So, yeah, we can call it common sense. We can call it responsible citizenship. Let's not argue about the name.
No, absolutely not. I mean, are you one of those like me who thinks that there is, though, a sort of lack of common sense? There is a lack of social cohesion. There is an awful lot of angst in the world at the moment, not least in the last couple of weeks because of what's been happening in the Middle East. But there seems to be a sort of a view abroad that, you know, Britain is very much a country that should be ashamed of its past, that shouldn't be in any way happy about its place in the world. And there's a growing number of people who seem to think that talking Britain down, in a way, is the way forward.
Yeah, I mean, this conference is global. We have, it seems like half of Australia here, actually. I'm not sure who's running the country. But it's trying to overcome that defeatist, nihilistic attitude. And there's so much pessimism, as you rightly say. And what we're trying to do is come up with a better story. I mean, we are acknowledging that mistakes have been made. I think it's very important not just to try to move on as if nothing is wrong. So I'm obviously representing, you know, speaking on the business side of things. And clearly businesses have, with unfettered, you know, free enterprise, it needs checking. You know, we need to make sure that we have some way of having growth whilst also sharing that prosperity. So this is not like, oh, we're moving from pessimism to optimism overnight, but we want to create a better story and have people feel more confident in the future.
Yeah, I mean, we're watching the COVID inquiry at the moment, and I can't help thinking that much of our malaise was brought along after COVID and perhaps during COVID, when an awful lot of people, particularly younger people, became very dependent on the government for sort of help to do everything.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a tragedy, really. I have a lot of children, many of whom I think at one stage we had 4 being homeschooled and 3 being home university. Not that that was a well-known expression at the time. And I think it was genuinely tragic. A lot of children, I think, have genuinely suffered severe mental health issues and struggled ever since. And obviously, the future does depend on the next generation. It's a tautological statement. You know, they have to feel optimistic. They have to feel confident. And I think we don't really know how long and how severe the toll on our next generation will be. But I agree with you entirely that has definitely contributed to this sense of, you know, defeatism and the future being worse than the past. And again, we've got to try and actively counteract that.
And so does being a responsible citizen then bring it back to the individual, perhaps, to bring it back to, you know, self-determination, you know, look after yourself, look after your family, you know, pay your taxes, let's hope they don't go up and they come back down a bit. Is it more about individuality or is it more about sort of collectivism?
Well, I think it's a bit of both. I mean, we're calling it the alliance because each of us as an individual can do something, but we can't do everything. So the idea is, yes, we take a responsibility for our own lives as much as we can. And Jordan Peterson, who's here, has a great line about have control over your own life, be adventurous in your life and enjoy. Sorry, my earpiece has fallen out, but I hope I can hear you. I've got you back again, but I might have to stand here holding my ears. Sorry about that. And he has this idea about having an adventure in your life. And that, I think young people and older people like myself, you know, need to hear that and need to believe in that. But again, as I say, we can't do as much individually as we can if we all gather together. And I think we have 1,500 people here from all over the world. So this is, you know, a real volume. I'm excited by the fact that there's a crowd here and everybody wants to do their part.
Yeah, it's very encouraging. Baroness, thank you very much indeed. Baroness Morissey there, with a little help from the earpiece hand. Thank you very much indeed. Enjoy the conference. And that is, of course, a place where responsible citizenship is being discussed. And I think it's not before time that we start to address these kinds of things, because we do need to get off this kind of dependency on government, don't we?